Keep it going. Turn up the volume for Marc Abbott. Come on up here, Marc.
So it's 1985, it's around May, and I'm sneaking to watch my favorite show in all the world, The Honeymooners. And I know that it's after 10 o'clock because the 10 o'clock news is off, and that's usually when The Honeymooners comes on. And what I do is I turn the volume down real low so my parents don't hear me. Now, my dad is off at work, and my mom is up. I know she's up, I can hear her. So I have the volume down until I hear, Marc, and I don't say anything. Marc, I know you're up, come in here. So I get up, I walk down the hall, I go in the room, and there's my mother sitting at the edge of the bed with the telephone. And she's looking into the telephone, she goes, your father's been shot. He's alive. My father was a New York City police officer. And apparently, on this particular night, there was a gunman who decided he wanted to try and take his life. My mother pulls me close and says, now listen, there's several things I want you not to do. Do not turn on the TV. Do not turn on the radio because I don't want you hearing anything. And whatever you do, don't wake your brother and tell him. Let me do that. What I need you to do is stay strong. Stay strong for us because I don't know exactly what's going to happen when I get back. So now, being the oldest of two children, I now have to stay strong for the family. The next morning, my mother wakes my brother up, and he's in complete hysterics. The problem is we don't know exactly what happened and what condition he's in. We know he's alive, but my mother won't say anything. The lieutenant and sergeant show up at our house, tell us we're going to go to the hospital. They put us in the car. And I'm remembering what my mother said, to stay strong, because my brother's in hysterics. She's not doing too well, so I'm now the man of the family. I have to hold this. And we get in the car, and on the way there, we hear this story. My father and his partner were flagged down by several people who saw a man with a gun. My father was in the car, driving, found the guy, drove up next to him and said, I need to see what's in the bag. The guy reached in the bag and unloaded his entire clip into my father. 5 shots to the chest, 2 in the hand. Somehow, my father was able to get out of the car, look under the car and see where this guy was, and shoot him twice in the leg before passing out. Still, we don't know what condition my father is in. We get to the hospital, we go through the back way, and we get on the elevator, and the sergeant looks at me and he says, stay close to me. It's about to get crazy. The door opens and there's a sea of blue shirts. And beyond that are the press. And I hear the press yell out, the children are here, the children are here. And they come running and the cops are pushing them back. And my brother, he starts crying again. My mother's holding him. I'm looking around confused. We turn the corner, we walk in the room. There's the press lined up, and sitting up in the bed, smiling, is my father. 2 casts on his hand. And he's recreating this story. My brother runs to the bed in hysterics. He's holding my brother. And I'm in awe because what I was expecting in my head was to see tubes and all this other stuff, and he's laughing. And so now we find out why he's laughing. Because he was wearing his bulletproof vest. That's what saved him. And so now the nurses usher everybody out, and it's just a little alone time with the family, and I'm still kind of processing the fact that he's alive, that he's okay, that he's coming home in a couple of days. And my mother takes my brother and says, okay, we're gonna head out. And on my way out, I stop and I turn to him and go, Superman. And he said, what? Superman. When I was a kid and you took me to see Superman, you told me there were no such thing as bulletproof heroes. But you're Superman. And he looked at me and he says, oh, okay, I'll be home in a couple of days if that's what's going to get you through this. And I nodded, and as I stepped out the door, I stopped right there, looked at my mother, realized my father was coming home, and I collapsed and started to cry. Thank you.